कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीकेर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं कौ नयाति पराङ्गतिं यत्पिबं सततं रामचरितामृतासागरम् अदृप्तस्तं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषम् गोष्पदीकृतवाराशं मसकीकृतराक्षसं रामायणमहामाला रत्नं वन्दे अनिलात्मजम् अंजनानन्दनं वीरं जानकीशोकनाशनं कपिसमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम् आमिषीकृतमार्ताण्डं गोष्पदीकृतसागरं तृणीकृतदशग्रीवम् आञ्जनेयं नमाम्यहम् उल्लङ्घ्य सिन्धोस्सलिलस्सलीलं यस्सोकवह्निं जनकात्मजायाः आदाय तेनेव ददाह लङ्कां नमामि तं प्राञ्जलिराञ्जनेयम् आञ्जनेयमतिपाटलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पौमाननन्दनं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि यः कर्णाञ्जलिसम्पुटैः अहरः सम्यक् पिबत्यादरात् वाल्मीकेर्वदनारविन्दगलितं रामायणाख्यं मधुः जन्मव्याधिजराविपत्तिमरणैः अत्यन्तसोपद्रवं संसारसह विहाय गच्छति पुमान् विष्णोर्पदं शाश्वतं तदुपगतसमाससन्धियोगं सममधुरोपनतार्धवाक्यबद्धं रघुवरचरितं मुनिप्रणीतं दशशिरसश्च पदं निशामयध्वं वाल्मीकिगिरिसम्भूतानां रामसागरगामिनि पुनादुभुवनं पुण्यात् रामायणं महानदी श्लोकसारसमाकीर्णं सर्गकल्लोलसङ्कुलं काण्डग्राह्यमहामीनं वन्दे रामायणार्णवम् वेदवेदे परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजं वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना वैदेही सहितं रुद्रमुतले हैमे महामण्डपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम् अग्रे वाचैति प्रपञ्चनुसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्य परं वाक्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामलं वामे भूमिसुता पुरश्च हनुमान् पश्चात् सुमित्रासुतः शत्रुघ्नो भरतश्च पार्श्वदलयोः वायव्यादिकोणेषु च सुग्रीवश्च विभीषणश्च युवराट् तारासुतो जाम्बवान् मध्ये नीलसरोजकोमलरुचिं रामं भजे श्यामलं माता रामो मत्पिता रामो भ्राता रामो मत्सखा राघवेशः सर्वस्वं मे रामचन्द्रो दयाळुः नान्यदेवं नैव जाने न जाने साकेते शरदिन्दुकुन्दधवले सौदे महामण्डपे पर्यस्ता अगरधूपदीपललिते कर्पूरदीपोज्ज्वले सुग्रीवाङ्गदजाम्बवत् परिवृतं सौमित्रिणा सेवितं लीलामानुषविग्रहं रघुवरं रामं भजे श्यामलं मेघश्यामं महाबाहुं स्थिरसत्त्वं दृढव्रतं कदा द्राक्ष्यामहे रामं जगतः शोकनाशनं जेत्यतिबलो रामो लक्ष्मणश्च महाबलः राजा जेत् सुग्रीवा राघवेण अभिपालितः दासोऽहं कौसलेन्द्रस्य रामस्य क्लिष्टकर्मणा हनुमान् शत्रुसैन्यानां निहन्तां मारुतात्मजः न रावणसहस्रं मे युद्धे प्रतिबलं भवेत् शिलाभिस्तु प्रहर्तारपादपैश्च सहस्रशः अर्धयित्वां पुरीं लङ्काम् अभिवाद्यश्च मैथिलीं समृद्धार्धो गमिष्यामि सतां सर्वराक्षसाम् धर्मात्मा सत्यसन्धश्च रामो दासरिर्यदि पौरुषे च अप्रतिद्वन्द्वः शरयेन जहि रावणीं नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवगौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् तपस्वाध्यायनिरतां तपस्विं वाग्विदां वरं नारदपरिपप्रच्छ वाल्मीकिर्मुनिपुङ्गवम् ओं रामाय नमः. Last week we have ended exactly where Hanuman entered the palace of Ravana. Lanka was built in such a way that it was on the top of Trikutachala. It was a hill. It was on top of a hill. The hill's name was Trikutachala. When Sampati told that he was able to see Sita from the point where he was sitting, we discussed about the line of sight and how Sampati was able to see because of the earth's curvature. Yesterday I was watching Mount Rainier from I-90. From here we are able to see Mount Rainier, which is far away from Seattle. But Lanka was not that far away from where these Vanaras were situated, and it was on an elevated hill, Trikutachala. So there's a fantastic possibility that Sampati can see Sita. So Hanuman, after jumping the fort wall, he conquered Lanka last week, and then he jumped over the fort wall, and then he stepped with his left foot inside as a mark of the enemy's destruction, and then he entered into Lanka. He walked the streets, he went inside, and then he crossed another building which was built with gold, studded with gemstones and lapis and lapi lazuli, whatever you call them, and cat's eye gems, which is Vaidurya. That palace was full of this kind of opulence, and Hanuman entered that palace. That is Ravana's palace, which is in the center of Lanka, which was guarded by battalions of armies. Before entering that palace, Hanuman also jumped on several homes of several Rakshasas. We discussed that also last week. So after entering that house, Hanuman saw small ponds filled with scented and fragrant water. It is full of agaru, agolakam, such kind of materials. It was fragrant. All flowers are very fresh, and most of the windows are decorated with gemstones. And Hanuman also saw many kind of vessels inside Ravana's palace, opulent vessels made of gold and very rare metals. And Hanuman saw so many women sleeping. They were interlaced with each other. It was like a garland of females. And then one was sleeping on the thighs of another, and some other was sleeping on the stomach of another. Like that, they were all scattered around, and Hanuman saw all of them. And one lady was holding a veena and sleeping, tired of playing the instrument, and then she slept on the veena as if a lotus flower in the lake, being dragged away by a boat. She was holding on to the veena like that. That was Valmiki's description. And he also saw many women with many instruments, holding, like mridangas, madhukas, pattas, and also flutes. Somebody was asking me a question, did Krishna invent the flute, or was it already there and Krishna picked up the instrument and then played it? Yeah, this is a proof that in Ramayana the instrument flute is mentioned, so the flute was always there. So Hanuman saw all these women, but then he couldn't find Sita. What kind of Sita he did not find? Dasaratha's daughter-in-law Sita, that Sita he did not find there. Rama's wife Sita, that Sita he did not find there. Lakshmana's mother, Lakshmana's sister-in-law, that kind of, who is worshipable to Lakshmana, that kind of Sita he did not find there. And what other Sita he did not find? He did not find the daughter of Midhila, daughter of Janaka, King Janaka, and the queen of princess of Midhila. He did not find that Sita. And also, he did not find that Sita who followed ancient righteousness. As I said last week, Sanatane Vatmani Sannivishtam, Ramekshanam Tam Madanabhivishtam, Bhartur Manah Srimad Anupravishtam, Stribhyo Varabhyascha Sada Visishtam. Say Sanatane Vatmani Sannivishtam, that Sita who follows ancient righteousness, she was not found. Bhartur Manah Anupravishtam, she entered the heart of her husband, Srimad Anupravishtam, with all auspicious qualities. Stribhyo Varabhyascha, among the best of the best of the best of women, Sada Visishtam, she is still the best. So that Sita, Hanuman did not find. So like that Hanuman was searching. And then he saw this great aircraft named Pushpaka, which was stolen or usurped forcefully from Kubera by Ravana. Since we don't discuss Uttarakanda, I'll tell you that story from Uttarakanda. Kubera is the brother of Ravana. Vishwavasu Brahma is the father of Ravana, and he had many sons from different wives. So Vishwavasu had Vaishravana. Kubera is also called Vaishravana. So after conducting many penances, Vaishravana wanted to become one of the chief who guards one of the directions, one of the Dikpalas. He wanted to become one of the Dikpalas. So Brahma came and appointed him as the Dikpalaka of northern direction. That's why when Sugriva mentioned, you go in the north, he says, you'll find Kubera's palace there. So Kubera rules the north there. So he made him one of the Dikpalaka, and this palace, Lanka, was built for the Rakshasas originally by Vishwakarma. But then those Rakshasas were killed by Vishnu because of the flappings of the wings of Garuda. The Rakshasas could not bear the wind that was coming from the flappings of the wings of Garuda, so they went away from there. And then Lanka was dilapidated. I mean, nobody lived there. At that time, Kuvera, when he asked, for a place to live, he was suggested that why don't you go and take care of Lanka? Nobody is there right now. Why don't you go and live there? So Kuvera came and occupied Lanka, and he was living there. But then, when Ravana became powerful, after getting so many boons, the same Rakshasas who fled away from there, Ravana's maternal uncles and Ravana's grandfathers, from his mother's side, not from the father's side. Father's side, Vishwavasu Brahma, they are all saintly and, austere persons. So on the mother's side, they were all Rakshasas, because Ravana's mother Kaikasi is the daughter of Sumali, who is a Rakshasa. So all those Rakshasas, they came and forced Ravana, why don't you drive away Kubera and then take care of Lanka, take back Lanka one more time. It belongs to us, why don't we take care of it? Then Ravana promptly denied, saying that it's not proper of you guys to talk against my brother Kubera. He's my brother, I should not fight him. But then these Rakshasas cited an example from the Vedas, saying that, from the scriptures, saying that in ancient times, Adityas and Daityas, they fought during the time of Mandara Parvata, churning of the milk ocean. They fought for the sake of nectar, divine ambrosia. So there is nothing wrong to fight with a brother. They quoted the scripture and then forced him to fight with Kubera. And then Ravana agreed, and then he fought. And then when they were in the midst of a gruesome fight, the celestials appeared before Kubera and said, leave Ravana alone and just get away from here. And then Kubera thought, okay, he agreed to it, and then he left that place. At that time, Ravana got hold of Lanka and all its riches. So Lanka was almost like the city of Amaravati. It was very beautiful and very rich, with highways and streets and perfectly laid out straight roads and cross sections and intersection of roads, well built gardens, well laid out trees on the paths of the roads. So, and with golden archways, gates, and many kinds of fortifications and bastions. Lanka was beautiful. And it equaled the city of Amaravati, the city of Indra. So Hanuman saw that Pushpaka. How is it? It's like as if it was built by the celestials itself. It was floating in the air amidst of, in that palace. It was so huge. And then Hanuman, on it there were carved many kinds of trees, flowers, elephants, all kinds of animals, birds, many kinds of forests, mountains, sun, moon, everything was carved on that Pushpaka aircraft. And also Hanuman saw Lakshmi Devi standing on a lotus flower, and then two elephants with lotuses in their trunks trying to offer it to Lakshmi. Like that, he saw a picture there carved on Pushpaka. This is the picture that Ravi Verma had drawn and painted, and that's what is very famous. Whoever want to worship Lakshmi, they put this picture where she is standing, and this comes from Ramayana. She's holding a Padma in one hand, and she's blessing with the other hand, and then two elephants, trying to offer her a lotus, and she's standing on a lotus flower. So this was carved in that Pushpaka Vimana, and then Hanuman saw that. And then he also saw many wives of Ravana sleeping around. And he saw women from Gandharvas, Nagas, Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, Yakshas, Siddhas, many kinds of divine women from the demigods. And they were all married. There was no one who was not married except for, here he says, no, actually not married. They were all kanyas. except Sita, everybody was a Kanya there, except Mandodari and Ravana's wives, everybody else, they all married Ravana with their own desire. Initially they resisted, but still looking at the glory of Ravana, they all married Ravana. So there was no woman in that place who did not desire not to live in Lanka. So it was only Sita who didn't want to live in Lanka. That's why Rama has to wait up to that point where at least one person who would not desire to stay there, so that he will go and attack and kill Ravana. Otherwise there is no need for him. This is the question that so many people ask, right? We say that we all have come from Vaikuntha, we all have come from Goloka, and they say, why did we come here? Why is not Krishna taking us back, or why is not Vishnu taking us back to Vaikuntha? This is the question everybody asks. In Vaikuntha, everybody is equal. They all have 4 hands. They all have a crown like Vishnu. They all have Srivatsa. They all have a mole on the chest. That's the Srivatsa. Vishnu, they say that Srivatsa Vaksha, right? Vaksha means chest. On it he has a mole. That's why it's called Srivatsa. So all the Vaikuntavasis look alike, almost the same. But Vishnu has some extra additional qualities. But most of the Vaikuntavasis, they all look the same. So, but when we are all equal, and when we had the same kind of bodily features in Vaikuntha, why did we come down here? Why are we here on this earth? Huh?
We desired
Yeah.
to come here.
Yeah, we desired to have a difference. They said, okay, I want to be the supreme person in this Vaikuntha itself. We wanted for the difference. I want to be the most healthiest, energetic, intelligent, and the most handsome or beautiful, in this Vaikuntha. That's what we thought. And Vishnu said, all right, if you want to go to there's a place for that. And there, if somebody has to be the topmost, healthiest or the richest person, then there should be a poor person too. There should be differentiation. So for that, there's a separate set of environment that creates these differences. So somebody will be sick, somebody will be healthy, somebody will be rich, somebody will be poor, somebody rich in gifts, somebody poor in gifts, like that, So he sent here, and so we are here, because we desire. If we don't desire to be here, it is guaranteed that Rama will cross the ocean, come and take us back. But anyway, that said, except Sita, everybody else desired to stay in Lanka, and only Sita wanted to get away. So Hanuman saw all these women, he thought, okay, everybody else here is happy, they want to be here. Except Sita, nobody wants to get away from here. They all have married Ravana, looking at his glory. Then he saw a staircase, and near the staircase, he climbed up the staircase and he went into a podium, where so many kinds of dishes were kept. He also entered into a bar. It's a kind of a bar in the Ravana's palace. A bar was there, where there are so many kinds of liquors made from all kinds of flowers and different kinds of grapes and whatever fruits. All kinds of wines are made, liquors are made. Hanuman saw all those things. They are all stored in golden vessels and then kept there, just like any modern house. And then Hanuman also saw so many dishes scattered around in that bar, with so many kinds of chicken and peacock, half-eaten peacocks, pigs. This is Rakshasa's house. This is how it will be. If you go to people who are meat eating, if you go to their dishes, you see that kind of a stale, stinking smell. I mean, it's no offense, but that's what comes up, right? When you go there. Even I used to eat meat, but after stopping it, after 13 years now, if I go to somebody's house, we can clearly say that if they have cooked fish 6 months ago, we can still smell it. Did you cook fish? You'll ask, no. Is it coming? Yeah. This is the pathetic situation right now. Okay. So Hanuman saw all these peacocks and half-eaten peacocks, chicken, pig, and all those stuff, in those dishes. And he also saw various kinds of meat soaked in yogurt and social salt. It's kind of a dehydrating salt. So these Rakshasas, even at that time, they had this kind of jerkies kind of thing, beef jerkies and all that you see in Walmart. This Rakshasas everywhere are the same. They have the same taste same taste buds. So they had all these kinds of foodstuffs there. And Hanuman, went away from the bar, and then, he looked for Sita, and then he couldn't find Sita, and he was depressed, and he also thought, I haven't found Sita still, but I am here roaming in this kind of inauspicious places. And then he went forward, climbed up the dais, and then he found on a golden couch Ravana was sleeping. His limbs are thrown apart, and his hands were like 5-headed serpents. Round shoulders and very huge hands, arms, and many wives are sleeping around him, and they're all drunk, and they have all slept. So he saw Ravana. He was like a heap of black-eyed beans, or black beans. He was so dark in color, in complexion, and his eyes were red in color, like the edges of his eyes were red in color, and he was glowing in glory. Even Ravana's appearance was magnificent, and he was wearing a yellow robe, and he was sleeping, and he saw that his arms, it had dents from the tusks of Airavata. Airavata is the elephant of Indra, and Ravana, when he fought with Indra, the Airavata was pushing with its tusks, and Ravana, he put his chest and arms around, against the assault of Airavata. So at that time he got stabbed by the tusks of Airavata. So those dents are still there. And then he also had the praharanas of Chakrayuga. That means some sharp razor edge. If it cuts you, those lines, those marks of your skin being lacerated by sharp objects like Chakrayuga. He saw all those praharanas on his body, all the marks of victory. For a warrior, these are the marks of victory, right? For a painter, stained clothes are the marks of victory. Similarly, for a warrior, like that. So Hanuman saw Ravana, and he was smeared in sandalwood paste, which was Rakta Chandana, red sandalwood. And he also smelled, when he was inhaling and exhaling, sweet smell was coming from his nostrils. Even that Hanuman has sensed. And then he was smeared with some kind of sandalwood which was red in color, just like a hare's blood. A hare is like a male rabbit or something, a hare's blood. What a comparison. When Rama was smeared in sandalwood in Ayodhya Kanda, it was compared to Varaha Rudira. That means Rama, like Varahadeva smeared in the blood of Hiranyaksha. But here, when Ravana is smeared in sandalwood, it was like a hare's blood, like a rabbit's blood. So when you compare with Rama, he is like a rabbit, Rama is like a lion, he is like a rabbit. That's what Valmiki means. So he saw Ravana with this kind of sandalwood, and he was sleeping. And then there next to his couch, another lady, she was sleeping on a bed, and she was all alone, and she was dressed in golden ornaments, and she was dressed with golden robes, and she was glowing resplendently, and she was with golden complexion. Hanuman thought, who is this lady? Is this Sita? Yeah, she could be Sita. And then Hanuman for a second thought, this is Sita. I have found her. And then he caught hold of his tail, and then he kissed the tail. And then he beat his shoulders, and he beat his chest, and then he jumped down, and then beat the floor, and then he jumped up the pillars, and then he started catching his tail, and then turning round and round and round. And he exhibited all the simian ape qualities. Because, when monkeys are happy, they exhibit all these things. When Hanuman did that. And then suddenly he thought, no, Sita cannot sleep with another man. Sita cannot eat food without Rama. She, who is the wife of Rama, she cannot do this. This is not Sita. This is not Sita at all. I must be out of my mind to think like that. So Hanuman was thinking in those terms. And then he felt depressed because of not finding Sita. Then he went around and thought, and he was so depressed, then he began to think, you should not be depressed. Anirveda Shriyo Moolam, Anirveda Param Sukham, Anirvedam Satatam. He says, despondency is the root cause of unhappiness and misery. Absence of despondency is what is required. Like, you should not be depressed. You should always be motivated. only self-confidence and if you drive, if you motivate yourself, then only you will achieve success. Hanuman says all these things. Then he thinks, no, I will search for Sita. If I don't find Sita, I will stay here and I will do a penance until I find Sita. Only when I find Sita, I will go back and see Rama. So Hanuman was thinking in these terms. And then he went around and then he did not see Sita at all. Then a kind of a strange feeling enveloped Hanuman's heart. He thinks, I have not seen Sita, but I have seen all these ladies, and this is not dharma. I have seen so many wives of Ravana. It's another person's wives, and I have seen them. And I have seen them in all kinds of situations, and I am not supposed to see all this. And he started feeling bad about it. But then he also says, Manahi hetuhu sarvesham indriyanam prakrite. It means for all the senses, mind is the one that controls all these senses. But my mind is steady. So I don't have shubha, ashubha, avastashu, tachamam, so vyavastitam. He says, mind is the root cause for controlling these senses, and either whether they are in auspicious or inauspicious states, still mind is the reason. But my mind is steady, so my senses are also in an auspicious state, not in an inauspicious state. So Hanuman motivates himself, and he also thinks that to find Sita, to find an animal, you have to search for that animal in that particular kind of herd of animals. And to find a woman, you can only search in between women. You cannot search for a woman among the herd of deers. This is Hanuman says this. So he says, so I have to search here. And while searching for Sita, I will encounter obviously about all these things. There is nothing wrong in what I did. And Hanuman motivated himself, and then he came out. This is the reason, right? That's the Buddhimatam Varishta. One who is intelligent, he knows Shastra, and he recites Shastra for himself, and then he can support himself rather than asking silly questions. How should I be virtuous? How should I be righteous? Going on and on asking others. It just shows your hypocrisy that you really don't want to be virtuous or righteous. You just are asking for the sake of it. If you're really truthful, if you're honest, if you open up your heart and talk to yourself, the Shastra itself reveals to you what you need to be, and you will support yourself and be like that. So Hanuman is the best example of that here in Sundarakanda. And then Hanuman went away, and he went away far from that place, and then he climbed up a wall, the fourth wall, and then he stood there. And he was in deep thoughts. Where can I find Sita? And this particular sloka, Manahi hetuhu, even in Bhagavad Gita they say that Bandhuratmat manastasya enatmaivatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutva vartetatmaiva shatruva. For a person for whom the mind is under control, his mind is his best friend. If not, it is his worst enemy. And there's a beautiful story with it. Once upon a time in a kingdom, that kingdom was flourishing with all grains and harvest. Their granaries are so full, but they don't want to donate that grain to other villages. So once when they got the crop, since their granaries are full, they can't store these grains. So they burnt all the fields. They wasted all the grain. So Lakshmi Devi got angry, and then she left that place. And even the clouds, they did not come onto their villages, and sun burnt radiantly and then baked the earth. So their crops are gone, their food stuff has dried out, they ran out of stocks. Now they are in utter drought. Then they thought, what should we do? They approached their king. The king was virtuous. He called up all his country priests and asked them, what do I need to do in order to alleviate the situation? Then the priests told him that they dug up all the Shastras, just like one digs out the earth and fetches out water. Similarly, they found out a solution from the Shastras. They told him that there is a kalasa, a divine kalasa in Vindhyas. Go and get it. With that kalasa, if you pour water on this earth, it becomes fertile again. All the rains will pour down again. So you get it. But in order to get it, you have to fast for so many days. For 14 days, and then you have to go through this forest of Vindhya Vriksha, which is very dense and which is very dangerous and which is very mystical. So in this forest, but you have to fast until you get to that Kalasha. If you don't fast, you will be in danger. So the king fasted for 14 days. All his subjects also fasted with all his army. He went to that forest. And then in that forest, they approached a certain distance. But half the way, they became hungry again. They could not resist the hunger. So they started eating, some kind of wild berries. Jobi, what do you call those? Those you get in Himalayas. Okay. Goji berries. Yeah. So those kind of berries, they ate. As and when they ate, and then they saw another army, very similar to themselves. Each soldier in that army resembled, one of the soldiers in this army. And even the king resembled this king. They were exactly like clones. And then they met them. So, and then those clones, started waging a war against this king and his subjects. And then they fought for, the entire day they fight. And then at night they rest, they again eat, and then they fight. And then this battle waged, this continued for 3 months. And the king didn't understand anything, what's going on. So he prayed for Narada. And then Narada arrived there, and then he told them that those army and those men who resemble you are none other than your own mind. Because you are not fasting, you are giving strength to your mind, so it's playing tricks on you. So that's why, they are coming and then fighting with you. But if you fast, they will disappear. So and then, so they fasted for 3 more days. Slowly the strength that they were providing to their mind, got alleviated, and then that army disappeared. And then they went and then they found the Kalasha, they brought back, and then, everything was fertile again, it grew. So that's what it says, your mind, when it is under control, it's your best friend. When it is not, it's your worst enemy. So this was a short story on, that sloka of Bhagavad Gita. But again, Hanuman, here he was depressed on this wall, and then he was thinking, what should I do? Then he thought, I have not seen some places in this Lanka. I will search for them. If I go from here without seeing Sita and convey this news to Rama, Rama will die. And upon seeing Rama's death, Lakshmana will also die. And upon seeing Rama and Lakshmana perishing, Bharata, Shatrughna will also perish. And upon seeing all this, Sugriva will also perish. And all those monkeys who have received smaller or greater or invaluable gifts from Sugriva, they will also perish looking upon Sugriva's death. And even Ruma, wife of Sugriva, will pass away. And even Tara, upon Sugriva's death, she will also pass away. And Angada, the young boy, he will also pass away. And for all this destruction, I am the root cause. And all the other ministers of Vanaras, Jambavan, other ministers, they will also jump from high cliffs, fall on the flat grounds and rugged terrain, and they will give up their lives. Like that Hanuman was thinking. And for all this, I am the root cause. Now, this news of not seeing Sita, should it be conveyed or not? If we convey, then Rama will perish. If we not convey, even then it is not dharma. What kind of a duty is this? What should I do now? He is now in Sandigdha. Now he thinks, okay, at least since I have not searched some places in Lanka, I will go and search those places. He says here, Adrishta. In general, Adrishta means, fortune or something. They say that, because of his Adrishta, he found it. But in Ramayana, the clear meaning of Adrishta is explained. Adrishta means that you have not seen yet. Like in our life, all the sorrows that we experience, we see, okay, this is what we see. But the happinesses that are in store for us, Adrishta, we have not seen them. They are there. But when we find them suddenly, without seeing it, that's what is called Adrishta. So, but anyway, here Hanuman says, Adrishta, I have not seen some places where Sita is there. I will explore those places and find Sita. And he while he was thinking, while he was contemplating like this, he prayed to Rama and Lakshmana. And he also prayed to Indra, Varuna, Marudganas, and Rudra, Yama, all these demigods. He prayed to all of them. And he said, okay, I have not searched Ashokavana. Maybe Sita will be there. I will go there. And then he climbed up that fort wall, and then he jumped, and then he went into Ashokavana. In Ashokavana, he found many kinds of trees. And when upon Hanuman's entering, all the birds that were sleeping at that time, they saw some movement in the forest, and then they started flying away. Because of the flappings of the wings of these birds, many kinds of flowers and leaves, all were shed by these trees. And Hanuman was covered in all flowers. And he was like a pushparadha, like a chariot made of flowers. And Hanuman, Hanuman also climbed up so many trees and he shook them, and so many branches were falling down, and leaves, the trees were shedding leaves, and these trees looked as if gamblers, while playing, gambling, they bet, right? They remove their ornaments and then put it as bet. Similarly, all these trees shed their flowers and leaves as if gamblers were, shedding away, their ornaments. Valmiki compared the trees of Lanka with the gamblers, because Lanka was such an inauspicious place. Even the nature was compared to gambling and all kinds of bad stuff. So Hanuman, when he entered this forest, he saw so many Ashoka trees, which were golden in color. Golden in color in the sense maybe the leaves turned into golden color, like yellow in color, and he saw so many trees there. Arjuna, Bilva, Patala, Ashwakarna, Dhava, so many vrikshas. And then he saw Simshupa trees also. And then he thought, these ponds here are full of lotuses and flowers. And Sita, being the wife of Rama, she will come here, because Rama's eyes resemble the lotus petals. So when she looks at the lotus flowers, she will be remembered of her dear husband Ramachandra. So I am sure that Sita will come here for that purpose alone. So I would start my search here. So then he started searching. And then he also found so many Rakshasis in that Ashokavana. Then he saw that Simshupa tree. He climbed up the Simshupa tree. And then he was thinking, where would be that Sita? If I had not found Sita, all my travel towards Lanka will be a waste. My jumping over the ocean is a waste. And my coming to this Lanka is also laid out futile. So, where is Sita? Then he also thinks that my garland of glory is fading away because I have not found Sita. Hanuman is for the first time he's praising himself that my garland of glory that has a very good foundation, and it has stayed like this for so long time, and it has not been blemished. But now, because of me not finding Sita, my garland of glory is affected. People might blame me. Hanuman was thinking like that. Then he saw a divine lady sitting right underneath that tree. And she was like Sukla Pakshapu Chandra Rekha. That means the moon, the crescent moon. She was so emaciated for having not eaten food for so long time. And she was golden in color, complexion. And she was covered with a layer of dust. And her ornaments were removed. Some of them were removed, and they were hung onto the bushes nearby. And she was leaning against that tree, Simshupa tree. And then he saw this glorious demigod-like woman. And she was like she was more beautiful than Rati Devi, the wife of Manmadha. When he saw her, he thought, this is Sita. This could be Sita. Then he saw all her ornaments. Those ornaments that Rama had described, those kind of ornaments he has found. And those that are not worn by Sita, that he did not see, because they are near Sugriva. She dropped some of the ornaments. And he could see the darkened marks of those ornaments on her skin. So he saw all that. And the remaining ornaments she was wearing, or she was removing, those were kept aside. And he saw those ornaments. And he remembered that these were the same ornaments, very same ornaments that were described by Rama. So this must be Sita. Who else can it be other than Sita? And when she was sighing and breathing heavily, it was as if fire was coming out from her nostrils. She looked like that. And she was like the planet Rohini, affected by Mars. She was like that. And she was like a star that has fallen down from the sky into an ocean of grief. She was like that. That kind of Sita Hanuman saw. Then he thought, her limbs and her bodily proportions are exactly like that of Rama. She resembled like Rama. Rama and Sita were exactly alike. He says, Asya Devya Yatha Rupam Anga Pratyanga Saushtavam. He says, very much she resembles like Rama. So Hanuman saw Rama and Sita, and he also thinks, how come Rama is living still after leaving this Sita for so long time. He says, Asya devya manah tasmincha asya pratishtitam ena iyam sacha dharmatma muhurtamapi jivati. His heart is located in her and her heart is located in him. That's why their hearts are throbbing for each other, and that's why they are still alive. This is how Hanuman beautifully expresses. And he also says, Dushkaram kritavan Ramo hino yadanaya prabhu dharaityatmano deham nasokena avasidati. An impossible task has been done by Rama. How can he survive from the separation of Sita for so long time? Rama has done indeed an impossible task. His heart is like as hard as a diamond. It has not crumbled down after losing Sita. Now he thinks, earlier, Rama was crying for Sita, and nobody understood why Rama is lamenting for Sita. He's God, but now you can see, one who has lost Sita, when only after seeing Sita, even Hanuman realized what Rama had lost. So he thought, Dushkaram kritavan Ramo hino yadanaya prabhu dharaityatmano deham nasokena avasidati. He's still holding on to his body, physical body, even after losing Sita. He has done an impossible task indeed. And then he offered his obeisances to Rama directly from there. And then he was watching. By this time, 3/4 of the night have been elapsed. And then in the last part of the night, Hanuman heard, Moodu jamula reyi gaduvaga nalgava jamu gaduchuchundaga mangalakaramau manohara dvanulu Lankeshwaruni melukulu kratuvulo narchu shadanga veda vidula Shwarayuta shabda taranga ghoshalu Sobhillu shungshupa shakalamatuna Maruti kurchoni alakinchenu. Hanuman heard auspicious sounds, Vedic chantings of the Brahma Rakshasas. In Ravana's palace, Brahma Rakshasas are chanting the Vedas. I already told who these Brahma Rakshasas are. These rishis who are performing yagas, if they pronounce a mantra wrongly, they become Brahma Rakshasas. And then their job is, they hover around yajnas all over the earth, and wherever rishis are making a mistake, they catch hold of them and then they kill them. So and then like that, if they destroy like 100 yagas or something, they again become rishi. And then these rishis who have made mistakes, they become Brahma Rakshasas. It's a cycle, it's a fraternity. Associate professors, and it keeps changing, So like that, these Brahma Rakshasas, those Brahma Rakshasas on their spare time, kind of assist kings like Ravana, when they don't have any job to guard yajnas, when no yajnas are going on around earth, they will be doing this kind of recitals and practicing, these Vedic recitals in Ravana's palace. So they were waking up Ravana with all these Vedic hymns and chants. And Ravana woke up at an appropriate time. Ravana was a Brahmana and used to do all these things properly, according to the etiquette. And he did it. He woke up, he offered his oblations, prayers and everything, morning prayers. But in the mind, he remembered Sita all at once, early in the morning itself. And then he started going towards Ashokavana. And 100 of his wives followed him. Dhanyamalini, so many other wives. And they were all some of them were holding lamps in their hands. They were all staggering, being drunk at night. And their foreheads were full of sweat. And then they were just staggering and then walking behind Ravana. And some of them were holding pillows, rounded pillows. Some of them were holding some kind of water in a diamond-studded pots. They were walking behind him. And Hanuman saw that Ravana coming towards Ashokavana. And he was on the top branch, and then he saw that Ravana was coming. And when he saw that Ravana, he jumped down into another branch, and he covered himself, camouflaged himself in between the leaves so that he won't be seen. And then he saw Ravana approaching Sita. Ravana approached Sita at that time. And then Hanuman saw Ravana and thought, wow, what a glory this person has. Actually, I didn't tell you earlier, when he saw all the opulence of Ravana in Pushpaka Vimana, he thinks, if he had not abducted Sita, I wish he could have had a long life. He could have enjoyed this Lanka for a long time. But just because of that one mistake, he's going to perish. This entire Lanka is going to perish. So he jumped down, and when Ravana came, he was thinking, what a glory. And then Ravana started talking to Sita. And when Ravana came, Sita was like a banana plant stuck amidst of a huge tornado. She was wailing, and then she covered herself, and then she shrinked into herself, and then she leaned back onto the tree. Then Ravana came and started speaking. O Sita, O Padmanetra, na chanta neeku yela chinta, ekkadi Ramudu, ekkadi Ayodhya, endukosami vanavasam yadha, navayavana triloka sundari, నీకెందుకు ఈ మునివేషధారి అని రావణుడు కామాంధుడై పలికే నోటికి వచ్చినదెల్ల పలికే. He says, O Sita, O lotus-eyed one, where is that Rama, where is that Ayodhya, how far is it? For what sake you are so beautiful, why are you fasting and emaciated? You should enjoy life, and against me you should not worry at all. Like that he started speaking all bad things. And he also said that Ramudu vatsuta nannu gelchuta ninnu ponduta kalaloni mata bala vikramadhana yashamulanduna alpudu Ramudu na mundenduna yamakubera varuna devendradula gelichina nakila narabhayamela అని రావణుడు కామాంధుడై నిలిచే నోటికి వచ్చినదెల్ల పలికే. He's saying, Rama coming here and defeating me, this is a word in the dreams. It will never happen. I have defeated Indra, Varuna and Devendra, all other demigods. And this human being Rama, what can he do to me? He said that. And again, he is still speaking. Ninu sukha pettadu tanu sukha padadu. He's saying that he won't be happy and he will not make you happy. For a second, most of the people think, yeah, that is right. Rama won't be happy and he is not going to let Sita also happy. But people won't realize that staying with Rama itself is happiness, and Rama is happy in himself. So Ravana is saying the same thing. Rama won't be happy and he will not make you happy. So why are you still clinging on to that Rama? Marry me. Like that Ravana is trying to entice Sita. And he also says, I have defeated so many villages and so many kingdoms and kings. I will give all that property to you and let you give it to Janaka, and you be happy. And I will make you the queen of all my wives. You will rule over them. You will be the sovereign queen. You will have sovereignty over them. So everybody will be serving you. Like that he started to entice Sita. But then Sita, she looked up and she picked up a blade of grass, a straw, and put it in between Ravana and herself and said that, you fool, it is not appropriate for you to entice me like this. I, being the wife of Rama, should not be approached by you in this manner. And she also says, if you have defeated Devendra, Varuna and other demigods, why have you run away like a dog when Rama and Lakshmana were there in Panchavati? Unable to withstand the fierce fury of the lions Rama and Lakshmana, you have run away like a dog. And now you are coming here and speaking. Why are you cheating yourself? Like that Sita spoke. And she said, with all these enticements, you can never elude me, because all these things are useless. For me, Rama is my husband and my guru, and I will never do such a thing that is not appropriate for a high-born person like me. Sita says, I am born of the king of Midila, Janaka, and I am married to Rama, and I come from a virtuous family, and I am not supposed to do this. And for you it is not appropriate. Even now it is not late. You can surrender me to Rama and then ask for his forgiveness, and I will plead for you. Like that, Sita advised him. But then Ravana, he became angry. And obviously he will become angry, He's very proud of his strength. Ravana said, and then he ordered, he tells to Sita that, Sita, men has to talk cogent words to women, and then they would listen. But if they are talking, too affectionate words, then women won't listen to men. Like that, he started to analyze, women's nature, and then he started talking all this nonsense again to Sita. Then Sita said, Ravana continued that if I had not been affectionate to you, I would have killed you by now. But because you have a place in my heart, I am not able to kill you. I have allotted you 12 months of time, and in that 2 months are still remaining. And until then, I will not kill you or I will not touch you. But after that, you will be cooked as breakfast in my kitchen. This is what Ravana said. And he ordered, and then Sita replied back that, is there nobody here in this Lanka to advise you properly? I think there is nobody here in this Lanka. Why is it that your tongue has not fallen down after speaking such heinous words? And why hasn't your eyes rolled down onto the ground because of your seeing me in this inappropriate situation, because of my misery? And Ravana became still angry. He, hissing like a snake, he ordered all the ogres that force Sita to agree to marry me, or else cook her and eat her up. But this is your job, be on it. And then he ordered all of them, and stamping the ground, he went back to his fort again. And Hanuman was watching all this, and then he cried out, Sita has born from that plough. Janaka was ploughing the ground and Sita was born. And she, who is worshipable to Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna, for her this kind of a calamity has fallen. And she, who is the wife of Rama and who has to sleep with him on a Hamsatulika bed, a bed made which is almost like a swan, for her all these troubles have come. What kind of a fortune is this? Like that, Hanuman was also in distress. Then he saw all these ogres trying to frighten Sita. One of the ogres said, how dare you talk like that to the Ravana, the king of ogres? And then another Rakshasi, her name was Ekajata. Huh? Trijata is, she comes finally. She is a good Rakshasa. In Uttarakhanda it is said that she is the daughter of Bhishana. First I am talking about the other Rakshasas. Ekajata, she says that Ravana is the son of Paulastya. He is the sixth in the Prajapatis, Paulastya. He is the son of Vishwavasu. He has defeated so many kings. Why don't you ascend? Why don't you become the wife of Ravana? Like that she swooned with anger on Sita. Another Rakshasi, Harijata, she also came. And she said, Ravana defeated Devendra. Why don't you marry Ravana? Like that she was also shouting. And then another Rakshasi, her name was Pragasa. She also came and said, Ravana will make you his wife and you can reign above all his wives. He has thousands and thousands of women in his palace. They will all serve you. Why don't you become Ravana's wife? And then another Rakshasa named Vinata. She came and said, oh child, you have already shown enough righteousness, but that is enough. You are a human being. Why are you happy being married to a human? Ravana is the king of Rakshasas. Why don't you marry him? That Rama, he is in the forest like a mendicant. Why do you want to still stay loyal to him? Why don't you marry Ravana? Like that Vinata said. And then another Rakshasi, Vikata, she came with a clenched fist. She came, how many times should I say? Why don't you marry Ravana? Like that she started shouting at Sita. Another Rakshasi named Chandodari. She took a spear and then pointed at Sita and said, kill her and eat her up, like that. And another Rakshasi, her name was Ajamukhi. She said, I don't want to see any quarrel amongst us. Why don't we make equal parts of Sita and then share amongst ourselves? Another Rakshasi named Surpanaka. There's another Surpanaka here. She says, let's all eat Sita up and then dance around Nikumbila tree. Nikumbila is a tree where Indrajit performs some yajnas, mystic yajnas. She said, why don't we dance around Nikumbila tree? There's one more Rakshasi, I think it was Vikata or Vinata, one of them. She says, I want to eat her liver up along with her muzzle and everything, and also the entrails of her head. These Rakshasis were so cruel. That's why they say, Sita struggles. Nobody will know Sita struggles. On one hand, she was away from her husband. On the other hand, these Rakshasis are thinking about, eating Sita her up, cooking her up for breakfast. That's why, at the end of Yuddhakanda, when Hanuman conveys the message of Rama's victory over Ravana to Sita, Sita says, I am not in my father's place, I am not at my husband's place, so I cannot give you anything, I don't have anything. And Hanuman says, no, you can give me one thing as a gift. Give me these Rakshasas, I'll kill them. So even Hanuman, who knows proper behavior, and he has a cultured spirit, he just hit Lankini and he did not touch her back. He did not kill her, because it's not dharma to physically assault women. But even that Hanuman lost his temper after seeing the behavior of these Rakshasas. He said, give them, I will kill them here, right here. Then Sita says, no, you cannot. They have done just their duty. Just like you followed the orders of your master, they are following the orders of their master. Now if Vibhishana asks them to respect me, they will respect me. You cannot kill her. And then Sita tells a story. We will discuss that in Yuddhakanda. So merciful is Sita. When Vibhishana came for Saranagati, Rama questioned everybody, asked, should I take him, should I take him, should I take him, should I take him, like that. Enquired with everybody. But when Hanuman wanted to kill the Rakshasas, without their request, Sita stood, in the middle of Rakshasis and, Hanuman. That's the mercy of Sita. Sita is, that's why if you want to approach Rama, you have to approach through Sita. And after reading Ramayana, initially you will start, because you are so much inspired by Rama and his, virtuous conduct, you read Ramayana. But at the end of the story, you will all become, the disciples of Sita. You love Sita more than Rama. And after completing Ramayana, of course, you will become the devotees of Hanuman. And also, you will appreciate Valmiki more than anybody else for having presented us this, great epic Ramayana in such detail. So these Rakshasas, they were talking like that. Then Sita said, how are you able to speak such words? Don't you have any shame? Are you not thinking? I can never do whatever you are asking me. Cut me into pieces and eat me, but I shall not do whatever you have said. Dinova rajyahinova yome bharta same guruhu kamnityam anuraktasmi yatha suryam suvarchala. Whether my husband is a mendicant or roaming in forests, but still he is my guru, he is my husband, he is my master. And I will stay with him just like sun rays. Sun's glory never leaves the globe of sun. Yatha suryam suvarchala. Suvarchala is Surya's wife. Just like Suvarchala doesn't leave Surya, I will follow. Just like she follows Surya, I will follow my husband, Rama. Yatha sachi mahabhaga shakram samupatisthati arundhati vasishtancha rohini shashinam yatha. Just like Sachi Devi follows Indra, similarly I will, and Arundhati follows Vasishta, similarly I will follow my husband, Ramachandra. Like that Sita explained to them. So this is what I will do. I will never do what you have asked me to do. And then all these Rakshasas, they were still angry, and then, they wanted to kill Sita, and one Rakshasi said, okay, let's squeeze the neck of this woman and then kill her, and then go to the king of the ogres, Ravana, and convey him that the human women have died. Then he will say, okay, eat her. Then let's all come back and then eat her up. Like that they were planning. When Hanuman saw all these Rakshasas, he was with anger filled. And then we'll stop at this point and then continue next week what Hanuman is going to do. Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunatmane Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam. Any questions?
So, you said that there is nobody else in Lanka who doesn't want to be there except Sita. Vibhishana also doesn't want to live there, right?
No, he doesn't want to be there in Lanka only when he tries to persuade Ravana. Only at that time he was asked to leave. He was trying to be there, trying to guide them.
I thought he was like a kind of a rebel himself, like he doesn't doesn't follow. He's not a. He's a good Rakshasa.
Yeah, he is a virtuous person. He doesn't have all those all that kind of qualities, but still he was affectionate to his brother. He wanted his kith and kin. He didn't want to leave. He was suggesting, you should not do this, you should not do this, you do this. He was advising Ravana. But Ravana said, you being here, you are like an enemy in the disguise of a friend. Within the same relatives, you are like this. And he also tells a story of a herd of elephants. In once upon a time in a forest, the elephants, when they were trying to be trapped, they all cried out, we cannot be captured either by weapon or by trickery or by anything. Just by the foolishness of our own herd of elephants, we will be captured. Similarly, because of you, I will be ruined. You are a family member, but just like those elephants, you will harm me. Then he says, okay, let it be. If you think like that, I will go away. Then he goes away. Yeah.
So, Hanuman doesn't meet with Vishnu in this
No.
Valmiki Ramayana.
No, Hanuman doesn't meet Vishnu.
Tulsi does.
Oh, in that he does. Oh,
Yeah,
Yes,
he's passing through the Ashok and then he's
Actually,
He hears-
Vishnu is the one who tells Hanuman other Ramayana to go to Ashokavan, check out in Ashokavan.
and then he's passing through Ashokavan and he hears someone chanting Ram Ram and he's thinking who's chanting Ram Ram in this one because they're all Rakshasas. So then he got curious and he went to Swami Vishnu and that's how he met him.
Yeah, but that and all is not there in Valmiki Ramayana. And actually, if you think of it, if you read it, if you want to relish, when you read Valmiki Ramayana, you feel as if this is really happening in front of your eyes. But other Ramayanas, they are trying to add the devotional tinge and dramatize stuff. But if you want to relish and rejoice Ramayana as it is, as and when it happened, in Treta Yuga, if you want to get that reverberations, you have to read Valmiki Ramayana because it is so natural. Even today, in Lanka when I was reading, there were so many things that were mentioned, like Krida Grahas, Lata Grahas, buildings made of creepers. Just with the plant creepers they made buildings. And those buildings were also there. And Chitrasalas, that means museums were there with paintings, full of paintings and that kind of things. So Valmiki Ramayana is, if you read it, it's very much close to the lifestyle that we lead right now. And it looks as if, I can see it in front of my eyes right now. So that's the beauty of Valmiki Ramayana. Even when the sages, Aho Gitasya Madhuryam Slokanam cha Visheshatah Chira Nirvuttam api etad Pratyakshamiva Darshanam. Oh, these slokas that you have recited, Lava and Kusha, these are so beautiful. And as if, even though it happened, long ago, by the time it was 32 years or something, but still, it looks as if it's happening right in front of our eyes. That's how beautiful your recital is. And believe it or not, even today, even if a donkey recites Ramayana, it looks as if it's passing in front of your eyes. I was calling one of my friend and said, why don't you, I have some recorded stuff, and I said I was doing Ramayana. I called him, he was in North Carolina, and he was my roommate in Clemson. I told him, why don't you look at this stuff? Then he said, I can listen, but the point is, we both talked about, we did so much, silly stuff and mischievous stuff in college, how can I listen to Ramayana when you are saying Ramayana? I said, I'm a donkey, but I carry a jewel. Why don't you take the jewel? Kick the donkey, stone the dog, whip the horse, and slap the mule. But forget not, you take the jewel. And then he said, he called me and said, he heard it, and then he called me and said, no, it looks as if, when I was hearing it, it's as if it's going in front of my eyes. So it doesn't matter who the, honey tastes the same, no matter what the container is, Yeah, of course. But now in modern days, they have different kinds of honeys, like, this from the wheat flour or that flour, and they have different tastes. But, in general, honey tastes the same, no matter what the container is. Similarly, Valmiki Ramayana, such a glorious epic. One will understand the beauty of the lyrical words also. I always say this, the three-dimensional space of Treta Yuga is embedded in the sound vibration of these Valmiki Maharshi's verses, the slokas. So whenever you recite that, it will resonate your heart and take you back to that same time. So if you read Valmiki Ramayana, the devotion in your heart is awakened, and you will at once feel your connection back with all these glorious characters, Hanuman, Sugriva, Angada, and everybody. And you will think that, I'm not alone, these are all my companions. And Krishna says, right, in Bhagavad Gita, Ananyas chintayanto mam yejana parivipasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Whoever thinks of me continuously, I will take care of them. So this Ramayana, whenever you read Valmiki Ramayana, because it is so natural and so captivating and fascinating, you will constantly be in that mood. Oh, how beautiful is it? Oh, I have not heard this at all. These Rakshasis, discussing with Sita and all these things, you will not find in any other Ramayana, this kind of. You can take liberty wherever Valmiki has not detailed out. Like, for example, when Rama was trying to lift the bow, before he got up from the seat, Valmiki directly says, Rama got up and then he went to the Manjusha and then he looked at Viswamitra and asked for permission. But there is another poet who writes that Rama got up and he took the uttariya, the upper cloth, and then he slashed it like this. And then he tied it around his waist, tight, and then he tightened it and then he went. That was also good. But, it's good to enjoy that stuff. There's nothing wrong, because Valmiki had not touched that subject. And Valmiki says, okay, Rama arrived at this mandapa where the marriage ceremony was happening. Up till then, what he did, how Rama walked up to that, you have all liberty, you can do what all you want. You can add all your devotional poetry and liberties to it. But don't change any, one little girl was asking me, I did that Sampurna Ramayana Pravachana 8 hours, and then one little girl came to me and asked, Prabhuji, is it true that Rama and Sita met in a park before the marriage? I said, no, it's all bogus. That also didn't happen. Because it's, our mentality is that park mentality. Love means, going to these, parks and then having fun and this kind of stuff. So our mentality is park mentality. Yeah.
No, it's described very vividly in Tulsi Ramayana, all this thing, like what Vatika it was. Some Vatika where they met right before the Swayamvar, like a day before. I think so, I'm not sure though.
Yeah, that's because our mentality is park mentality. So,
I have one more question.
yeah.
So, what form is Hanuman is taking? Because when he killed Lankin or talked with Lankini, he was in a cat.
No. He became
cat,
as small as
cat,
but he was not.
I know.
Yeah.
Came out like that.
Yeah.
But is he still in that form when he was in the top of the tree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He was searching the entire Lanka, having assumed a smaller form. Yeah, so that he won't be seen. Yeah. Hare Krishna.